Welcome to this week's episode of Coast to Coast. Of course, proudly supported by West Coast Health and High Performance. Massive upset loss by the Hockeyroos to India in the quarterfinals. Geez, it was flattening. Maddie Fitzpatrick, she scored the winning goal against Japan to get them there. And the physio Steve Allen helping out. They're both West Coast Health High Performance representatives. Absolutely gutting news, but the good news for everyone at home is they're packing their bags, they're in early quarantine, and they're going to be back on deck at West Coast Health High Performance to treat you. Get online, westcoasthealth.com.au, or go in and see the friendly team. Steve Thumper Bandy in the driver's seat for this afternoon and for the remainder of season 2021. Tim Gossage having to step aside. He's got a bit on his plate, and unfortunately, you're stuck with me for a few more rounds. Of course, these two are irreplaceable, thank goodness. We're joined by Hammer Brayshaw. First of all, Hammer, welcome to the studio. It's just you and me.
Yeah, a really intimate setting in here. And once again, and I'm sure Oz will reiterate this statement, the best plugger in the business.
No one's ever called me plugger before.
The best plugs in the business. Go see Stephen Bandy. But no, tremendous to be back. Good to be in the studio. And Oz, you're on the other side of the building or underside of the building.
I am. I'm genuinely just below you. I'm on a Skype call currently. I can see Thumper's beautiful face, cannot see yours, and yeah, ready to get this underway.
How are you feeling so far in the bubble, per se? Oscar, nothing new, of course, but it's just club, home, maybe a petrol station for a late night out if you really want to party hard.
Yeah. The government exemptions we've got are great, and this is pretty much the way we lived our lives all of 2020 when we were at home, so we're used to the current exemptions, but there's a couple of new rules that have been released by the AFLPA, some new player restrictions for when we're out of quarantine, which will be interesting to see how that goes.
What are they, Oz? What are they? Are they similar to what we had last year?
Yeah, so it was similar, a bit similar to last year. It was actually sent out by Mark Hutchings, who was our AFLPA representative, so well done, Hutchie, for doing that. But we're no longer allowed to go to cinemas, mass events or locations, which is defined as events or locations with more than 1,000 people. So bars, nightclubs, and shopping centres where there are multiple entrances. So you can't go to your Whitfords, Karrinyup, any of the big shopping centres. Any really shopping centre ever in Perth, I think, has multiple entrances.
May I ask, is that because, what are the reasons for that? Is that because other states are you still trying to live under rules from other governments, or?
I think this was just in terms of trying to regulate and minimise risk mitigation, really, with some of the other clubs and how players have been forced into lockdown and missing games of football. So basically, if you can't go to these big open places, it minimises the risk that you'll be a close contact. So that's what we're going with, and yeah.
Understood. Well, I'll give you a little game changer for anyone who cares to listen. How about everyone come to Perth? When's the last time we've had a case or a lockdown that's really shut everybody down? So everywhere else is up. You want the AFLPA, you want the players to be all good, get over here. Not that hard, I don't think.
I heard there was a case in Tasmania today for the first time.
Yeah, there was a case in Tassie. Queensland are locked down. I'm not sure Sydney's on this planet anymore. Victoria have had a couple more. SA is still touch and go. Not sure what's going on in the Northern Territory, but it's almost as if a 2-year-old could figure out that WA is the place to be to play football. I don't know. I'm not in charge, but that's probably what I would do.
Well, you know the authorities are watching, Oz. We've got Josh Carr being stood down by the Fremantle Dockers for going walkabouts and having a bit of a shindig at his own house. And then Brandon Walker, his first year, just went in autopilot mode, took his dog for a walk. Have you almost been caught out of just kind of doing something so natural of going to get the paper or, thinking about walking your pup, going, oh, hang on a minute, I'm in the bubble, I forgot.
Yeah, it was good Sunday night, get home on late Saturday night, pretty tired Sunday night, chilling in bed all day basically, and then it comes to 6:30 and I realise it's midnight and I have to tap the missus on the shoulder and say, you better go put the bins out the front. I'll sit on the couch and watch the rest of the Olympics tonight, eh?
Nah, that's fair enough.
Just quickly, so did Josh Carr get the sack then?
He's been stood down, so I think it's all under investigation and a final ruling is pending. I think there's an AFL investigation underway, so I don't think he's been sacked. I think he's been told you need to just... I think the government has stepped in and said you're doing your 2 weeks regardless. You cannot leave this house.
Yeah.
So you're not under the AFL mandate, and I guess it's to come to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
See. Yeah, watch this space.
Look, Hammer's in the enviable position of not having to have watched the game on the weekend, so many fans out there might admire him. But we are going to touch on it very quickly, Oz, and then we'll push on to some lighter notes. But what should have been a very proud day for the boys on Saturday at the MCG, celebrating a milestone that doesn't tick over too often. It was, of course, a result that many didn't see coming. Collingwood came to play. Their game plan made them look like a top 4 team. Tell us what the mood's been like, or maybe what the feeling was like post-match, immediately after, and some of the days preceding.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't a great way at all to celebrate one of the greatest players our club's ever seen. I'm not sure if we'll be doing our top 5 players of all time, but I'm sure he'll figure up amongst there. Mate, it's just one of those games where you finish the game and you're just so disappointed with how it went, the effort, everything regarding the game of football. It's a tough one to put your finger on because it almost feels like one of those games you walk off the field, felt like everything possible went wrong. So it's hard to know where to start, but we've had a good week of reviewing. We're filming this podcast on a Thursday. We're playing on Monday against Melbourne, which will be a great clash. So we've reviewed well. We've understood the main areas of which need to be improved, and we're just putting in place a change of things that we can put a better performance up on Monday night.
So they've had the most disposals, I think, ever in a 2021 season, Hammer. They've moved the ball from the back half with absolute ease, uncontested marks, little chip-ups. What have you heard from people trying to describe you to the game when you just ask for a couple of sentences here or there?
Oh, yeah, I've had a couple of people speak to me about it. Not lack of effort, because, I mean, I listened to Dom Sheed's press conference the other day, and not through a lack of effort. The way that I've been told that Collingwood used the ball and moved the ball made it look as if there was no spark at all in our team. So it's unfortunate that on a bungers, a big occasion like that, you get you do turn a result like that. But Oz, just to you, I mean, we got drafted in the same year. This is your 4th year in the system. You've had you've been a part of a very successful last 4 years. This is the first time that losses of this nature have been repetitive and have been constant throughout the year. So, I mean, you're a young leader of the club, and I'm not sure that you've had, at AFL experience, haven't had this sort of stuff happen too many times. What are the older boys? How do you lean off them?
Yeah, I think it's the main issue is those momentum switches. So when the momentum goes against us, we're not stopping the tide quick enough, and it can take us a quarter or even a half of footy until we click back into gear. And in the first quarter, we're actually pretty good. And all the stats after the game, obviously, Thumper talked about the uncontested disposals and uncontested marks, but we had more inside 50s than them. And that's something that when we do go poorly, that's generally our biggest weakness. And this week, it was just our connection in that centre forward area, which really hurt us. And then they just rebounded and scored really efficiently off shallow entry. So it's one of those things where you look at your JKs and your bungers and you say, what do you guys really think about what went wrong? And they're pretty level-headed about, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. There are things that need to be changed, and it does need to be changed very, very quickly. And we do need to take responsibility, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater as well. Don't say, we're stuffed. We're still in 7th position. We're still in a position to play finals, and at our best, and I genuinely believe at our best, we are a real red-hot shake in finals time. There was a stat given on the AFL website that the West Coast will make history if they finish in the final 8 for 2021 for having the most, 90-point beltings or like plus 60-point beltings and still go on to play finals. You touched on it earlier. Dom Sheed fronted the media, and he had some interesting points to talk about. Let's have a listen to just a quick snapshot of Dom.
Yeah, I don't think it's a lack of effort. Everybody goes out there and tries their very best week in, week out. I think it's probably more a lack of energy, in offense and in defense. So I don't think it's effort. I think it's the energy that we can really lift at the moment. Everyone sort of knows that they're only a couple bad games off getting dropped. It's a pretty ruthless industry, but, what they do in match committee has nothing to do with the players. All the players can do is go out, train as hard as they can, play as well as they can, and match committee will take care of itself. So in terms of selection and getting dropped, there's no angst amongst the boys or anything like that. The boys are just trying to continually get the best out of themselves, and that'll take care of itself. At the same time, as doom and gloom as it is, we're still sitting 7th on the ladder. So there's 11 teams in the competition who want to be where we are. So we've got 3 more games left in the year, and hopefully we can qualify for finals and do some damage there. But, it's going to be a tough one against Melbourne this week.
So, Ozzy, one of the main ones that sticks out there is it's not a lack of effort, as you and Hammer have discussed, a lack of energy on offense, defense. Now, it seems perplexing for an average Joe punter to hear that there's such statements being said by an emerging leader in Dom Sheed of lack of energy. They'd say, how can you get in that mindset knowing what's at stake and blah, blah, blah. But is there something a bit more deep-seated in terms of how you change your style of ball movement can kind of catch you on the hop with what you've been doing defensively?
It's a good question, Thumper. To be honest, I don't have the answers because I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. And it's a good part of my development and our younger players coming up, the development of understanding what's going wrong. But I generally think when you focus on team defense and you put your energy into there, that can often put energy into your offense. You get turnovers in dangerous positions and can score. Whereas when you focus on offense, you probably overthink it too much. And I think when you're in a flow state and just playing the game as it is, that's when teams score really well, or that's when you move the ball well. So we're probably just working through what we need to focus on. And really, I think it's focusing on the contest and focusing on defending against teams well.
Yeah, I mean, you say you need to switch that focus and be a bit more, it's got to kick into gear pretty quick because there's not many games left. And, we have still got one foot in the finals, but, there are other teams under us that, and we've got some pretty tough games coming up, so it could easily go the other way. So, looking internally, Oz, I mean, Simo, there's only so much a coaching decision. Like, you can't change a game plan in a week. How much do you Shannon Hearns? How much do you Jeremy McGovern? How much do these guys and that, the leadership group of the club, and Luke Shuey, obviously, when he gets back, how much do you guys have to look at them, and how much does Simo look at them and just say, look, boys, we've got, 4 games left. It's whatever you want to make of it. How much is that? Has that sort of, are you guys spoken about that internally as a playing group, or, where do you sit on that?
Yeah, we have spoken about that. And we've also spoken about having real belief in the game plan we have had for since we've been in the club, the last 4 years, and it's been really effective for us. So It's not thinking, well, the game plan's what's at fault. I don't think that's the case at all. I think as Sheeta touched on, it's your energy at times and effort at times and being tough in the contest. It's those intangibles that need to be changed. And I always think a really good want and will for the contest will often outweigh a good game plan. And if you really crack in hard and just put everything on the line, it will often outweigh a game plan. And one of our strengths over the last 4 years, I think, has been our effective game plan. So we've just got to merge the two of those together for the remainder of the season.
Dommy fessed up and said that he went and apologised to Bunga, after the game, saying, sorry we let you down on such a milestone. I'd imagine Bunga couldn't give a flying fry pan about winning on this particular occasion. He just would have been flat with the loss in general. So no Powerade shower for Bunga at the end of the game. I did see a funny clip that I forgot to bring up last week, Oz, and it was when Gov got absolutely doused in Powerade in the middle, and then he went back and joined the circle, and he just happened to be right alongside you. And you were so flat. He was the stickiest man in the precinct. And you're like, oh, do I have to touch you? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's shocking. You never want to be next. You don't want to be the person in the middle, and then you also don't want to be the person behind someone directly opposite from a turbo. So say like a Jackson Nelson who gets into it way too much and then tries to throw all of it on Gov, misses him and goes on me, the person behind him.
Yeah. So I remember I just about drowned in after my first game. Genuinely thought I was like, I couldn't breathe. There was that much blue Powerade and red Powerade all over me.
Looks like it stings the eyes too.
Well, so you get told on the way, I reckon Bunga came up and said on the way, as we were walking, he's like, mate, take your boots off or you'll never wear them again. No worries, Bung. Boots off, eyes closed, yelling and just couldn't breathe. Awesome.
We've had so many milestone games and first games the last 4 or 5 weeks that I've just not worn my boots once. As soon as the game ends, I'm taking my boots off on the ground.
Ozzy, do you want to sift through the wreckage that is now the Allen Time vote?
Yep. So this week I'll take control of the Hammer Time votes once again. Obviously the overlap with the waffle and the AFL makes it pretty tough. I'll just be really quick here. I'll get through it as quick as I can.
Would you have watched it again if they won?
No, but I would have done a bit more research and looking through, highlights and the rest of it to figure out who was good. But sure. Ozzy's got this one.
I'm just going to knock this over really quickly. One vote, mate. Jakey Waterman. 22 touches, 9 marks. Was pretty good on the day. Worked hard for us. The best of a bad bunch.
How was he utilised, Oz? I mean, when we saw him in the waffle a couple of weeks prior, he was kind of moving all around the ground. He was playing loose man in defence. Where were the majority of those touches?
Yeah, more as a high half forward and then working in with some of the deeper forwards as well. So he got a lot of his ball up the ground and worked really hard for it. 2 votes. I'll just be quick with this. Jamie Cripps. 3 scoring shots, kicked 2 goals, had 14 touches, laid 5 tackles, something that we haven't done effectively enough, lay tackles, and he's a workhorse. You know what you're going to get from him, and some days he doesn't get a look. It's purely because of the role he's playing, but really respected member of the side.
I also thought he put in a good effort, but John O'Brien on the couch gave him a whack. I don't know if you boys saw that.
I did not.
I didn't.
Said his work rate was off, which is one bloke you wouldn't think is having short of work rate issues.
Yeah,
Oz,
I'll be
yeah.
honest. I haven't watched much footy journalism the last month whatsoever.
Neither have I. But criticism re Jamie Cripps' work rate, then either you're watching the wrong bloke or something is really, really going wrong.
Finally, the 3 votes. We've gone for old reliable Andrew Gaff.
Yeah,
Worked
fair enough.
bloody hard on the day. 33 touches, 7 marks. Went back with the flight a couple times late in the game when we're down by 40-odd points. Really respected member of the group and a leader, so I went 3 votes for him.
To Dom Sheed's point about blokes lacking energy, he's one that never does. And he's always, he'll have 30 touches a week because he's the same. He runs defensively, runs offensively, he's back and forth up the ground. And yeah, mate, I've said it on this podcast before, an underrated, courageous player. Loves going back with the flight.
God, yeah. And just quickly, unsung hero will not be had this week.
Yeah,
Thank you.
excellent.
Bye.
No question.
Andrew Gaff had something like 6 score involvements, and there weren't a lot of scores to go around. So well done to Gaffy.
Gaffy.
So players that returned, it was good to see Petch get back out there after overcoming, a couple of week injury. Jack Redden had 3 weeks out with a knee complaint. So good to have those boys back, and hopefully they round out into a bit of form. Shuey is a test this week with his calf complaint. Hammer, it's going to be real interesting whether you just give him that one more when you think he's right.
Well, I don't think you can. This is a do-or-die game against Melbourne, and as your captain of the footy club, and if he's ready, he's ready, and I think he'll know that. But I don't know, Oz, what do you reckon? I think if he's 80% good to go, I think you have to play him.
Playing on the Monday probably makes it more of a chance, I'd say. Obviously, we're not match committee, and every time we've had to be, we've got it horrifically wrong.
Yep.
But playing on the Monday, I think there's a chance, but you've also got to look at. He's going
to have a 6-day break as well.
Well, there's not many more competitive people than Boots out there, and if the captain of the footy, for him to be sitting there, it would have killed him to see the result of the game on the weekend with the season on the line. The season basically on the line in the next couple of weeks. You'd need to get him back, my opinion, anyway.
He might have switched off and watched the Waffle Boys. You never know.
Well, no, he was midfield coach for the Waffle, so he certainly wouldn't have been watching the AFL, but had the phone on him and was checking the score, but it would have killed him.
We'll touch on that in a minute. So Barris and Ryan, they're still 1 week away with hammy injuries. I don't know if you've spoken to TB, Oz, but that was his first ever soft tissue injury.
I have. I actually did ask him about this a couple of weeks ago just because of what it felt like, because I haven't had too many soft tissue injuries myself. I have spoken to him about it, and he reckons it's just a bizarre, almost like a shooting, nervy feeling. I'm hoping I don't have to experience that at all in the future, but I'm sure one day I will. But yeah, his body's held up really well to be what was he, 25, 26?
Yeah,
almost played 100 games, never had a soft tissue injury.
Yeah,
pretty good going.
For a big bloke who gets batted around a bit, and he's pretty quick for a tall fella. You'd think those the soft tissues would be certainly playing him a problem, but no, he's gone a while without him, and I'm very surprised you haven't had much history with him. Everything else on your body's broken and sore, but the soft tissues are okay.
Unspoken fact about Tom Barrass, I'm pretty sure he would be the second quickest player on our list at top speed when he really gets going.
Well, who do we reckon? I reckon at top speed, Nick Nat's our fastest.
Hang on, we're going to get to this later in the show. So we're going to get to it later in the show. We'll tease it. Jermaine Jones, 1 to 2 weeks away, and Archie with a fractured hand, just a brutal blow.
Yep.
He's still 3 to 4 away. So apart from that, let's have a look at the Waffle Boys and who might be knocking on the door. Hammer, give me some insight into this little run of form we got happening down in the second grade.
Well, it is scintillating would be the right word, I think. No, we've just found, the start of the year, it hurt us with the AFL injuries. We had to play a lot of amateur players that were not, who hadn't had Waffle experience yet. But, as a captain of the club, I can say now that I'd be confident in saying the blokes we're putting on the park every week are Waffle players now. So there's no longer, ammo boys playing Waffle. That they're bona fide Waffle players now. And so I think that's what really, not so much the AFL list health has helped.
But you don't win the games without that improvement.
You don't. No, you don't. Jackson Nelson coming back and having 30 touches and Alex Witherden having 40, that's all well and good. But if they're having to carry, if they're having to pick up the load of blokes who aren't at the level yet, that's where it'll hurt us. But we're here, and we've got this core group of Waffle players who are performing every week, and that really takes the pressure off the rest of the squad. The AFL guys coming back. So I think that's where our massive, or the bulk of our improvement has come from. Those Waffle guys getting to a level now where they understand the game plan in and out, gelling with the AFL boys. but they're also confident in themselves. I've been doing this all year and I'm confident and I'm happy that I can, contribute in my own way. So that's where I think the bulk of our improvement has come from. Definitely a good spot to be right now, and a couple of weeks away from an extra potential in W. Rioli coming back with the bye that we've got this week. He's got an extra one if he wants it.
That's right. Did you hear that, Oz?
Dot.
You hear that one? So I think the bye has given Willie another opportunity to play an extra waffle game should the club go down that avenue. So we could play 3 straight waffle games, I think, or 2 straight waffle games.
2 straight waffle games, not this weekend, the next. So this weekend we've got a bye given the situation with COVID. Then we've got West Perth on the Saturday next week. And then given you guys being in lockdown, Oz, the Peel game that would have been on Saturday the 21st is moved to Sunday the 22nd, and at Saturday the 21st on midnight, the Rioli restriction is up.
Does he not come straight into the AFL team?
That's a good question. He could come straight in, but I'll be waiting with open arms if he should choose to have a little bit of form through the waffle.
Well, you two have seen him out in the track more than anyone listening, so how's he looking out there?
Ozzy?
Yeah, pretty good. He hasn't been training with the main group the last couple of weeks, and the schedules have been a bit mix and match. So he's been training with the waffle guys and then having his weekend session with the rehabbers because obviously he can't play. So he is looking good, but to be honest, I don't really pay too much individual attention to anyone else when they're training. Yeah, I'll have a look out for him tomorrow night at training. So I'll get back to you with the full diagnosis and report next week. But at the moment, I think he's a sniff. I think it depends how the team's going, really. If he's needed, I doubt that there'll be much hesitation to bring him back in.
Is he's in lock or quarantining with you guys, is he? He went in on the Saturday. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, do give us a touch base with us next week as to how he's travelling, because if I'm putting my match committee hat on for a moment, as soon as he is available, I am throwing him on the park. For all the listeners at home that might be sort of saying, oh, why would you play him straight away? I cannot reiterate how good he is. The best player I've ever seen, and even with 2 years off, he would run rings around me.
I'd be interested to see the spirit and morale lift that he also provides, not just on-field playing-wise, but someone who's a very well admired and loved member of the group who's been through a really tough 2 years.
Yep.
I think Simo said it before, some of which self-inflicted, but it would be amazing for him to be able to get out there and play some senior footy. And if it's not in round 23 or whenever it is, or finals, or if it's next year, I know it will be a huge lift for the whole playing group.
So other news circulating the club. In very sad note, Daniel Venables calling time on his footballing career at the real early age of 22. The medical review in Melbourne that he was awaiting and was delayed through COVID. He got the conclusion and the answer that I think he feared. He said he was about 90% certain that this was going to be the outcome. 3 neurologists and a sports doctor of some kind, or something like that. And he had to deliver the news in front of teammates earlier in the week. He spoke on AFL 360 just last night, so Wednesday night. Here's just a couple of grabs from that, just in case you missed it.
It's been rough, mate. Like, it's something where, like, I thought, I was just going to come good any day now, and that's legit been from the day after I got knocked out. And then I just had migraines and everything, no sleep, headaches 24/7, pressure through my head. It felt like my head was legit going to explode at stages, and it just compounded, everything compounded on each other. And I think the fact that I just didn't know, and I still don't know when I'm going to come back to being normal, I guess, is the most frustrating and hardest part. There's days where my head's been just thumping so much and I've been no sleep, stuck in a migraine where I genuinely believed that this was going to be me for the rest of my life, and that was pretty scary, to be honest. But that was at the start of it all, and that lasted a while. But things have gotten better, which is good. I think I've realised from this that there's more to life than footy. And yeah, as great it is to win a flag, and mate, I was on top of the world I was 19, and then 6 months later this happened. Things got put in perspective pretty early. But yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to play in that flag. Don't get me wrong, and I'm glad I can sit back now and I've done that, because I guess that ties me to the club for the rest of my life, which is awesome.
Just devastating stuff, really. Such a great guy, and it's quality to see him be able to talk about it now that he's in a better space, but obviously the disappointment of not being able to recapture what his career trajectory was going to be and be able to do what he loves for a living. Very sad. What was the feeling like amongst the boys hearing the news, Oz, just during the week?
It was definitely pretty somber. I think those of us that are good mates with him probably knew that this was what was going to be the outcome, and a number of the boys already knew that this was going to be announced. But he handled himself really well, and I mean, you take a step back and think about it. He's 22, so he's the same age as Hammer and I. He's been through a lot the last 2 years of his life. I can't even imagine some of the thoughts that have been going through his head. The constant, will I come back or will I not? But from an overall life standpoint, I think now he has a bit of clarity as to what's next in his life. He's no longer going to be thinking, am I going to come back and play? More medical reviews. Will I be able to get back on the track? Am I allowed to do contact training? Now that that's kind of got a line through it, I think a silver lining is he can now get on with life post-football. And as you said, he's a great guy, so we'll have a lot of connections, not only through the football club, but through the whole AFL industry throughout.
The club said they've given him the option, Oz, to, if he wants to stay amongst the playing group, stay at the club and be a part of the team for the remainder of the year. It's totally his choice. Or he can head back home to Melbourne if he so desires. Do you have a bit of an inkling of what that decision might be?
I'm not too sure, mate. I would assume he'd probably stay around here for the next couple of weeks, at least until the regular season is over. And then depending on what happens with finals, whether if we make finals firstly and we travel over east or whatever it may be, I'd assume he'd stay with the team for the rest of the year, as a lot of the boys in the team are some of his closest mates as well.
First round pick, grand final, hadn't played any midfield for this footy club. He's a midfielder.
Yeah, it is tough. I remember playing or watching him. I played a little bit of footy with him growing up. It was so good that he just had to play out of position. He wasn't a far forward flank, but still came and still provided so much in that role, but was just waiting and biding his time to crack into that midfield. And it's such a shame that he won't be able to have that chance and that opportunity to show. Everyone obviously knows that he's a talented player, and that weight being lifted off his shoulders will do him well going forward, because it's been 2 years where he's probably known that he won't be able to come back. Like, he would have known his symptoms weren't really dissipating. He was, he's spoken about it before. He had 2 years of on and off sort of pretty persistent stuff. So he would have known that, look, probably unlikely that I'm going to play again. Now that it's a definitive, hey, mate, this is not going to be good for your health. Well, liberating is probably the word, I think. Like, it'll really see him go forward and flourish in whatever else he does. So as sad as it was to see him, make that announcement and hear it online, it was I feel almost happy for him that he's finally able to get going on.
Yeah, we wish him all the best for whatever the next step may be. Thought he spoke incredibly well on AFL 360. He was a real struggle to get words out of him when he first came.
Yeah.
It wasn't Liam Ryan territories, but it wasn't too far off. But now he's just grown so much as a person and had to face these difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And he's handled it so impressively well. Yeah. Other news going around the club just this morning, as we're recording this Thursday, a record membership number being announced by the club. Number one in the AFL, 106,422. Leads the league for financial members, up 5,000 from 2020. Only West Coast and Richmond have broken the 100K mark. Trevor Nisbet said it's quite extraordinary and overwhelming. Couldn't agree more, particularly at the time that we're in.
Yeah.
Ozzy, you've really just got to praise the members that through thick and thin, through results that are happening this year and through a pandemic, that they're still coming back and supporting the boys.
Absolutely. I've said it for a while. I think we have the best members in the competition, and we're so grateful for the support. Obviously, the new stadium in the last 3 to 4 years has been terrific for them. There was some teething issues. I'm sure you being behind the scenes would be well aware of it, with new ticketing and a lot of oldies that have had their same seat for 30 years now having to uproot that and sit somewhere else in the stadium. But they've supported us through everything, and we're so grateful for them. Just a quick one, Hammer. Have you had a look at the official AFL club membership ladder that was posted today?
No, I haven't, mate, unfortunately.
Could you name the top 6 clubs membership-wise? Just a little quiz in the middle of the episode.
Don't mind it.
Would we be 1?
Yes.
Then Richmond would be 2.
Correct.
I spoon-fed you that, so how about you do some work?
2. Collingwood 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Now, this is where it gets a bit dicey, because I'm not going to say anything, so I've got 1, 2, 3 locked. We got 4, 5, and 6. So I'm ruling out the upper East Coast. I'm going to go Adelaide at 6.
Okay.
That's going to be my I'm going to go Adelaide at 6. Just going to put them at the bottom. I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go Melbourne 4.
Okay.
I'm going to go Carlton at 5. So I've gone West Coast, Richmond, Collingwood. I've gone Melbourne, Carlton, Adelaide.
I mean, you haven't done too poorly. Essendon at 4.
Essendon at 4. Wow, okay.
And Essendon is, in fact, at 4.
Yep. Essendon at 4.
Carlton at 5.
Carlton 5. I had Carlton at 5.
And Hawthorn are at 6.
Hawthorn are at 6. Wow.
Melbourne are sitting at 11th and Adelaide at 8 currently. And then obviously Geelong 7, Adelaide 8, Port 9, St Kilda 10, Melbourne 11, Freo down at 12th.
Yep.
Sydney 13, Western Bulldogs 14, North 15, Brizzy 16, and then GWS 17 and Gold Coast at 18.
What's the difference in Gold Coast GWS numbers, Oz? Do you know that?
Yeah, so GWS have just over 30,000 members and Gold Coast have dipped under the 20,000 mark.
30,000 for GWS ain't bad.
That's incredible stuff. That is very, very good. Tremendous segue, and we move on.
Some serious kudos just quickly to Geelong at 7th with 70,000, being in Victoria, but out of Melbourne. That is huge numbers.
I guess they've also been very, very good. Good on them.
Does help.
Have you got back or neck pain? Are you rehabbing a sports injury and need the best in physiotherapy care? Or are you dealing with arthritis pain and want to start feeling better? Visit West Coast Health and High Performance. It's located where the Eagles train at Mineral Resources Park. Their team of experts will design an individual program for you to get back on track with your health. West Coast Health and High Performance. Book an appointment today at westcoasthealth.com.au.
Hey, I've got two astute AFL minds in the studio, so let me just run you past the latest AFL ruling that's going to come in 2022, and it's about the list sizes. It's going to remain the same as it is for next year. The only real change that I saw was the rookie rule getting a little bit altered. So they're calling it a replacement rule for the fourth year. If you want to keep a player on a Cat A or Cat B rookie, you can do it for the fourth year, which I think is the change.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know if there was the terminology threw me, not an intelligent man, something about can't bump them from senior to rookie. Did you read anything like that, Oz?
I did have a very brief look at it. I think the senior to rookie was often a move if you had a senior player. So Lockie Henderson from Geelong, prime example, playing a lot of footy, and I believe he actually might still be on the rookie list now, was delisted and re-rookied. So I don't think you can no longer just bump them down to a rookie draft.
Eddie Betts do that as well at Carlton? Did he?
Yes, he did in his last year from Adelaide when he left. Yep.
Okay, so is that just to really improve more player flow and movement amongst the competition rather than just saying we're going to shelve him away? It's like if you want to put him up, you want to let him go, give other clubs the opportunity?
Also maybe a salary cap issue because you can pay, like for those senior players, you can pay them you pay them less on the rookie salaries, but you're still getting 20 games out of them a year. So I don't mind not being able to be like, but if you're a player that is worth it and you're playing every game, you should be on the senior list. So I agree. Once you've been senior, you can't get bumped down.
It is interesting. Last year in the potty, Scully and I tended to try and break news and predict the future of football, and I think we did a fairly good job. We predicted the TAC Cup being changed, a lot of the hub stuff we predicted. I'll be interested to see with the player movement. Do you think it's more or less likely in the next, I think before this COVID stuff, I think the AFL was going down the route of more player movement, trading throughout the middle of the season. Obviously, the mid-season draft was brought to fruition. I'm interested if, because of the COVID stuff and then salary caps have been hit, the amount that the clubs can spend on their soft cap, so extra coaches have been hit, if that's probably put player movement on the back burner for the next 5 to 10 years. Interested in your thoughts, Hammer?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I thought probably 3 or 4 years ago, before any of this sort of stuff went down, that the AFL was trending towards the NBA style of mid-season. Like if you desperately need a tall forward, you can, sell the house to get one from GWS, and that could be sort of a midweek thing. That's where I thought it was going, but now I'm very much in your corner of I think it'll have to really slow down because all these decisions, salary cap-wise, financially, have got to be much more thought through, and there's not a lot of wiggle room.
I think I'd be in the minority of AFL players by saying I actually kind of want this to happen, right? I want it to be a more fluid league so there can be more changes and players can, if you're stuck on a list where you're probably third or fourth deep and you're not really going to be offered a chance to be able to swap, or like you said, if there's injury worries on a team list, to be able to chop and change, similar to what Gold Coast had for a long period where Jared Witts did his knee and they didn't have a specialised ruckman for a long period of time. I quite like the idea of it.
I don't mind the idea of it either. I just think even if it was allowed, like you see in America, all the sports that is so fluid and people just go, willy-nilly. Loyalty is a bigger thing, I think, in our game than many other games. So even if that was allowed, I think you would still have guys. I think it wouldn't be as frequent as you see in other sports just because of the loyalty that players have to their clubs, would be my opinion.
I don't think there'd be as many big-name players being moved. I think it'd be more players who are on the fringe and looking for an opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah,
but also it comes back to money. Right,
yeah,
with the CBA probably not going to go up by as much as they originally predicted with the new television deal. There's probably not going to be enough spending, and the base salary really needs to be up for the lowest paid player to that 250, 300 grand, I'd assume, for a first-year draft pick or a rookie to be able to rip up the roots of their life and then move interstate.
And just quickly back on that rookie rule, and you might be able to shed some light on it. For example, I was 2 years on our national draft. So I was on the senior list for 2 years and then got a year on the rookie list at the end of it. Would I have not had that opportunity? Should I have?
That's what I'm trying to clarify, whether that's what they've changed or whether it's a certain amount of years that they've altered, or whether it's you can't just demote them back down to that after the senior gig.
I'd never played a game. I played a game on the rookie list, not in the senior list. So I would hope that it would be for blokes that have played a certain amount of games that, you can't just say, right, you've played 200 games for us, but, you're on you're in your last year or two, we're going to put you on the rookie list to get, someone else to go. I think that's, if you're going to change the rule to where clubs might exploit it, not for a bloke like me who's not played a game and they just want to keep around for one more year to see if he's any good, which he wasn't.
Another loophole with this is if you're on a contract for up to 7 years, you're a restricted free agent. So you can't be moved unless the club doesn't want to match a deal or really wants to get rid of you. After the 7 years, you become an unrestricted free agent. However, in your situation, you were put on the rookie list. So then when you were out of contract, you became an unrestricted free agent again.
Yeah.
So say the club wanted to match you, you had the right to walk off and leave.
I did, but I didn't at the same time because otherwise I would have walked straight back to not a job.
Back to the Sandy Zeebs.
Yeah, no question. All right, okay, well, that was good.
We're going to Who Are You today or not?
We do have a Who Are You, and it's a great one filled with tremendous tidbit. So,
despite wearing the white shorts, Oscar, I'm believing in your abilities today.
Well, I can't see Hammer's facial expressions because the camera's pointed at your mug and not his, which really hurts me.
It would hurt anyone, but you reckon you deem quite a bit from his expressions when you start floating around a few guesses and ideas. You read in the face circuit PokerStars tour.
It's more just the feeling of relief when I see the smirk come on his face when he says yes. That's the feeling of joyous euphoria of which I will be missing.
I'll describe it to you, mate. That's the best you got.
Okay, so I am, again, Oscar will announce that it is anyone, not just a player, not just a staff member, not just a person in the facility. It is anyone. So it is open.
It has to be associated with the West Coast Eagles, right? It can't be like, Nick Riewoldt.
Yeah,
right?
It can't be Nick Riewoldt. It has to be someone associated with the West Coast Eagles.
The milkman.
Who am I?
Right.
Clue number 1, older than 25 years old. Question 2, or clue number 2, he has a royal middle name.
Okay.
Clue number 3, he has worn 2 numbers in his career.
Is it Jeremy McGovern?
It is not Jeremy McGovern. Clue number 4, would be classified as a country boy.
Don't want to guess, Gov, again?
I'm going to take a strange one. Is it Josh Kennedy?
It is not Josh Kennedy.
How many middle names of the boys you reckon you know off the top of your head, Oz?
Oh, very, very few, mate. Very, very few.
Some team, mate.
Clue number 5 is winless at GMHBA and York Park, which is Aurora Stadium in Tasmania. Clue number 6.
So's the majority of the squad.
Yeah, so everyone.
Yeah, but what that does is it might give you an indication. I haven't said which club this bloke.
It's not Tim Kelly.
Yeah. Anyway, clue number 6, a genuine two-sport player. Was a genuine two-sport player.
Right.
What's the Lex gauge on this?
Lex got this at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Instantly Pat Bynes, but I know it can't be him because he's been everywhere.
He definitely hasn't seen York Park.
Oh, goodness me.
Okay. Yep, go on.
Clue number 7. Has kicked exactly 50 goals.
Right, so they've played a little bit of football. Okay, give me a second. Let me just have a genuine think about this.
How many Zach Langdon punched away, you reckon, Oz?
Nah, not 50. No.
All right.
Would it be Jack Redden?
It is not Jack Redden.
Reddo don't kick many
What other
goals.
sport you reckon Reddo's playing?
Now, let me give you. I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to move on to question number 8, clue number 8, but I'm going to throw the caveat out there that there is a real red herring in and amongst the first 7 clues.
Oh, my God.
A real red herring. Clue number 8.
Oh, boy.
Clue number 8. He was balding since he was about 18.
Oh, it's Shannon. Is it? Yeah.
Who is it?
Shannon
Shannon Hearn. Well done, Oscar.
Hearn.
Clue number. Hang on a minute. I'll read the clue number 9 was he was a record holder at a club, at his club, which is obviously the game's record holder here. Clue number 10, if you hadn't got there already, would have certainly given it away. He loves shearing sheep.
Does love shooting sheep.
So-
and some great hits. Great hits.
Yeah, thank you. The red herring, obviously, was he's worn 2 numbers. Now, a tremendous story about this. Why, you might ask, has Shannon Hearn worn 2 numbers? He's only ever been number 25 at this footy club. There was a game in 2017 whereby it was Sir Doug Nicholls' round.
Love this.
The 1967 referendum to give Indigenous people the vote. It was the 50-year anniversary for that. So
They all wore the same number, didn't they?
So
Like 3 of them did, I think.
So captains had the option of wearing 50, and Indigenous players were given the option to wear number 67 because of the 67th anniversary of the 67 referendum. Anyway, the story goes that apparently a lot of the captains wore their jumper out into the middle, tossed the coin in it, took the photo and whatever, and then changed back into their other one. And Bunga wasn't originally going to do it, but made the very last minute call, I think the morning of, to wear number 50, but they didn't have a number 50. So Bunga's gone they had to go to the team store, buy a team store jumper.
No, and press the number.
Press the number on. So if you see the footage, it's like the team store ones that are not
They're so
game
baggy.
quality. So
They're
it's
so
just like
baggy.
it's a baggy jumper
50
that's sort
cent
of
playing AFL.
yeah, under his arms, all this sort of extra baggage, extra room in there. So Bunga's played in a 50th, a number 50 team store press jumper the morning of. So he's got 1 recorded game in the number 50. So hence the 2 worn numbers. And the genuine 2-sport player, obviously we all know Bunga was a cricketer, but here's a little thing that you might not know. In his second year drafted, he was playing obviously at West Coast. It was in his second year here. He was a very good cricketer for South Australia. Now, their Sheffield Shield side were playing our Sheffield, the WA, at the Wacker, and there was a bout of gastro or something that had gone around in the SA, in the team. And so in cricket, you have obviously 11 on the field. You've got 12th and 13th man off just in case. And then there's every now and again you get a 14th guy who will run water out to the batsman in between overs and whatever. Anyway, their 13th man, I think, got crook. And there was concerns in the Sheffield Shield South Australia team that a few more guys might get crook. They have called West Coast and said, hey, I know this is a bit out of the blue. Is there any way we can get Shannon Hearn to be our 14th man? We obviously know he's a very good cricketer. We had our eyes on him because he's just obviously in our state program for a number of years.
He had a contract, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he's like, any way we can get him to be our 14th man.
Unbelievable.
Because obviously cricket in the off-season, they said, yeah, okay, sure, no worries. Is he going to bat? Is he going to bowl? No, he probably won't, but we need him just to be there. So he was the 14th man. Anyway, he wore a guy called Matthew Elliott's shirt because he obviously didn't have the state stuff for Hearn, so he wore Elliott's shirt and was walking drinks around the boundary to go to the bowler. And someone in the crowd yelled out, "Oh, Elliott, can we have your signature?" And Bunga's turned around and said, "Oh, mate, I'm actually not him." And blokes were just getting stuck into him on the bench. So there's a little funny tidbit for Bunga. Obviously coming off the back of his 300th game, I thought it was only fair that we did him. And yeah, Oz, I'm going to throw you on the spot here. I'm throwing you in the spot, Oz, because we've been teasing this for months. He wasn't in my top 5 of all time, but I'm going to roll mine off for you real quick. And then we're on. Are we good to have a little discussion about this? Bunga Hearn was
and then I'll go with mine.
Yeah,
Can I just quickly say that was your best 2 so far this year?
Yeah,
it's bull the way you've got that, but I'll give it to you.
Thank you very much. Anyway, notable omissions, and Bunga Hearn leading straight into this. He was a notable omission for mine. My top 5 best West Coast Eagles players of all time. Number 5, Glenn Jakovic. Number 4, Peter Matera. Number 3, Chris Judd. Number 2, Dean Cox. And number 1, Ben Cousins. There will not be a single person that agrees, with everybody. There is always going to be conjecture.
Very good
Thank
top
you,
5.
mate. I've had a few, 3 notable omissions. Kempy, Shannon Hearn, and one of the greatest halfback flanks of all time alongside Brucey Dore, the Flying Doormat, is Guy Bluey McKenna. So there was my 5, a couple of notable omissions. I know I'm throwing you under the pump, Oz, and I hope you've got your piece of paper that you had it on.
Not really. You've had 9 weeks to prepare it. I think you're ready to go.
I think the listeners are ready to hear it.
I'm still deciding over the last spot. So
Well, that's why I've thrown you on the spot, mate.
I've got my first notable omission.
Yep.
It'll be Darren Glass.
Yeah, nice. Notable omission,
He
tremendous.
won't be in the 5, but loved him.
Yep.
All Australian, captain for a long period of time, best and fairest winner at fullback.
Yep.
Very, very hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
My next, I'll give you a bit of insight. My 5th spot is between Josh J. Kennedy or
Yes.
Shannon Hearn.
Yep, excellent.
And I am going to say Josh Kennedy as my 5th best Eagle of all time.
I like
I'll
it.
I'll simply do this because he's leading the goal kicking and he's the only out and out key forward or really forward in my top 5.
Well, I
Number
mean,
4,
you look at it. Sorry, let me just quickly jump in there. You look at it. He's been the second best. He's been the second best full forward of this century, I think.
yeah.
Buddy won him too. I mean, he's certainly in the conversation. So well done, number 5. Anyway, you go.
Yeah, number 5. Number 4, Jacko. Was my 18s backline coach, believe it or not, and very, very, very good footballer. I believe he was a 3 or 4-time All-Australian, 2-time Premiership player, superstar. Number 3, Peter Matera. Once again, one of the greatest Indigenous players of all time.
Yep.
The way he played the game was unbelievable. Obviously, inspirational in the grand finals. Number 2, Benny Cousins.
Yep.
Cousin number 2. And number 1, Dean Cox. Revolutionised the game. Obviously, deducing from your list and my list, I've left out Juddy. And
Yeah, I have
think
noticed
Juddy, on his peak, on his day, the best Eagle of all time. But I think the longevity, and obviously he left the club
The move to
early,
Carlton, yep.
moved to different pastures. I'm not going to say greener pastures, moved to a different pasture, a more muddy pasture.
Yep.
But
Well, it got your man Josh Kennedy into the 5, so it was
It
a great
did.
trade-off.
yeah, so I got him into it instead. Look, I just can't have him in the top 5. I don't think he played nowhere near as many games as the others.
No, he didn't.
Holistically, he's not in my 5.
I just think your 100 that you get out of Judd at West Coast is the best 100 games ever played by anyone ever.
Hard to argue.
So
Yeah,
I think
very
it's
hard to
very,
argue.
very hard to leave him out. I do like the Dean Cox, at 1, a 6-time All-Australian, revolutionised the game and was just a phenomenal footballer.
Genuine
So
freak.
happy with that. And yeah, mate, I am, as you know, JK wasn't in mine, but I am happy that he's, I'm more than happy that he's in there.
What a shame we never saw the Budweiser and Josh Kennedy both put on a WA strip and go out there and play some State of Origin footy. Hey?
Goodness me, imagine that.
Should
buddy.
we bring that back? Should we be the guys to try and revolutionise and bring it back? I love to play State of Origin footy. I wouldn't get a game, but I love to be in the crowd watching. I'd even run water for the boys.
Yeah.
You'd be Matty Elliott on the sideline.
Who would
Yeah,
be?
God, yeah.
Who would be the WA? I mean, let's just talk straight full forward, centre half forward at the moment. Would it still be Buddy and Josh Kennedy?
Yeah.
If you played one
Yeah.
this year, would it still be those two? You'd probably think so.
Well,
wouldn't you?
who's next reserve? Who would be, if one of them gets injured, who's your best key forward coming out of WA that's still playing?
Jack Darling,
Jack Darling or Nort, my
yeah,
man,
Norton.
astronaut.
I
That's
yeah,
true.
I think you probably have to go. WA would be a pretty good side. Be phenomenal,
Oh,
actually.
I think we'd be the best side.
I mean, Victorians.
I think we'd be the best. I think
just-
we'd be
yeah.
Victoria.
Well, who's our? Just quick. I mean, we're going well off topic here. Actually, not really. Nick Nat in the ruck.
Yep.
Who have you got on ball?
Well, you got Tim English coming off the bench if you want to go. Imagine
Yeah.
the 1-2 of Nick Nat, Tim English should be all right.
Who would you have on the ball, Oz? From Paddy Cripps?
I mean, you've got a variety of choice. You got Cripps, Fife, Yo. Who else you got? You
Kelly.
got Kelly, Mitchell.
Geez, you'd have some good players.
You'd have
It'd
some
be
good
a
players.
tough game. It'd be a really good team to knock up. I think that AFL, I remember the AFL website did one a while ago and it was very, very good.
Where would you want to play it, Oz? You want to play it at the end of the year when you're just gagging for your end of season trip, or you want to play it in a mid-season bye? Like, when's best from a playing perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question. People wouldn't say mid-season bye purely because of injuries and stuff like that. So a lot of guys would need a rest, and you wouldn't want a lot of guys pulling out and then it'd just be like the second best WA team almost, because your Josh Candys and stuff wouldn't play, neither would your Nat Fifes or Nick Nuis. So you could take a leaf out of the NFL's book, and the teams that are knocked out of the grand final or final series, you pick the best state teams, and you do a little competition the week before the grand final.
Do you have it that the team that wins the top tier to be crowned like the best, because you got your Allies and Queens, what is it, the Allies?
It'd be
Allies South Australia. Yeah,
Allies South Australia.
So
Victoria.
anyway, so you have your top two, whoever the top two are, and they're like, you're the State of Origin champ. And then the bottom two, the winner of that then next year take on the overall winner, and you almost have like a seeding or ranking type scenario? That how you're doing it each year?
Oh.
So if WA lose to Victoria for the title, they're playing 3v4 the next year?
It's a good question. I don't know how you'd work it. I mean, you could do...
Because you want to be touted as, hey, we're the best state, and you've got to earn the right to get that number one seed.
I think State of Origin do a 3-game series in the NRL. I think you could do a 3-game series in State of Origin AFL, whereby WA play South Australia, then they play Victoria, and then they play the Allies.
Here's one. Play your first seeding game as your 2 first seeding games in your pre-season. Bin off the pre-season series. Play your first 2 games. So WA versus Victoria, WA versus SA. And then the mid-season bye, WA versus the Allies. And then in that final season bye, before finals, that's when you have the grand final.
Or, I mean, you certainly could do that. Or before, in the JLT games, have that as an opportunity. Like, you don't need to see, I'll use, Luke Shuey for an example. You don't need to see Luke Shuey play JLT games because you know he's going to be our captain. You know he's going to play well. You'd much rather, you'd give that opportunity to a young fella to come and play, see how he goes. You could play easily 3 State of Origin games before the season starts alongside the JLT game. You might get 2 or 3 blokes taken out of your team, but, you're still getting a pretty reasonable JLT squad away.
You're not implementing those structures and the game plans that you've been working on all summer, though, are you, Oz?
It is tough logistically, but it could be done. It could be done.
I just think it would be awesome.
It'd be maddening. I'm going to move on because we have got to wrap, and you've got to get to a 3:30, right?
I do have to get to a 3:30.
Okay, so I've got a few things to go. Socials, boys. You got anything? It needs to be top shelf because we've got Olympic chat to come.
No, I'm not. I'm going to bin socials this week.
Not really. No, I just got a couple from people saying bring out the chainsaw. So
that's been a common thread, mate. Bring it out. Anyway, has been a common thread, but nothing of top quality this week, so we move.
Well, keep them coming.
Please do keep them coming. If they are top shelf, they'll get on the show.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so keep firing to the boys.
No
All right,
question.
Olympic chat. This is just to finish up. So there's so many great talking points. I want you to, I could name them all. We've got Peter Bowl,
Huge.
Andrew Hoy in 8-time equestrian Olympics. Like so many Olympics, so old.
Stupid. Yeah, that
I'll
was.
tell you what, Andrew Hoy not coming to the top of my mind.
No, he was coming to the top of my mind because I saw it the other day and it flashed through all the Olympics he's been to.
Yeah.
Like, what did he start in Seoul, did he, in 88?
Trying to do the math of what 32 years is, but
I reckon he's been
plenty.
I reckon he's been to 8. I reckon he was in Seoul in 88.
Amazing. You've got Logan Martin on the BMX. You got what about the 3-time Olympian like Genevieve Lucchese or whatever her name is, rupturing the Achilles on the final jump?
That was unlucky.
So what's your most memorable or favourite Olympic moment for each of you? Go from now.
This so far, I think it is for me. I think Jess Fox in the canoeing. Did she win? I can't distinguish between. I think
canoeing.
she won the slalom canoeing. She lost the kayak. And had it just like blitzed the semi-final, was 3 seconds ahead of everyone else in the qualifying, and was going to win, but like
nicked it. Yeah.
Just nicked it at the end.
Yeah,
added 2 seconds on or something, and she lost by like half a second, and just devastating. And her dad was commentating, and that was probably the funniest thing. Was like he just brushed it off like she tried her best, she did everything she could. Was very professional about his daughter.
Would
losing.
you be that composed?
No, God no, God no. But then. It's the determined, I've never seen anyone with more of a locked-in face than her at the top of the, the run, and then she just nailed this other one, won by 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you can see when she sees that she's won, just elation. That was my favourite Olympic moment for me.
Oz.
She's a 5-time world champ, and her mum and dad are like the 2 greatest slalom canoers of all time, and her mum's her coach, and the dad was running the Australian slalom canoeing commentary team.
It
was born into greatness.
Yeah, it was impressive stuff.
So that was great. I think watching Ariane Titmus knock over Katie Ledecky,
that was huge.
is probably the greatest female swimmer of all. Not probably, is the greatest female swimmer of all time. Chasing it down in the 2 and the 4,
that was
and
huge,
the way
wasn't it?
we chased it down from behind and won was just unbelievable. Our females swimmers, like cream of the crop. We got the
no
best female
question.
swimming
we
squad in
do.
the world.
Pool is always massive to watch. And your boy Oz, the greatest rig on the planet,
Yeah, Caleb. God.
big dress. Yeah, that was
Dress,
impressive too. The big dress. One of the world's
Looks a bit like
greatest.
you, Ham.
He does look a little bit like me. I mean, I say the best wig in the world, but you seen me or anyway?
Those
we are.
listening think we're talking absolute smack.
Yeah.
Search up Caleb Dressel and hit us up on
Yeah.
the socials about what a
Yeah.
Greek god he
It'll
is.
take up all of your screen.
Yeah. No, but we are incredible in the pool. Peter Bowl last night was wicked. I mean, I know he didn't win, but like just gave him a side out front, gave him something to chase down, and that was really, really impressive. You could tell that he was, he died in the arse in the last 50 metres, but still to come fourth in the Olympic final, you're the fourth fastest man in the world over 400 metres. Over 800 metres. That's incredibly impressive. Just a quick one. I was watching last night the 200 metre final, and DeGrasse won it wearing just the most ridiculous pair of sunnies.
Yeah,
What do you
so
like?
silly.
So silly. What do you reckon? I mean, like, how much do you think they're getting endorsed to wear those in the biggest race of your life? Once every 4 years, someone's coming. Hey, mate, I know you're focusing on running the fastest time in the world and being the best ever, but here's a pair of comedy sunglasses to wear. What do you reckon? Like, you're not just saying, yeah, for charity. You've got to be getting a bulk sum, I would have thought. What do you reckon, Oz?
Mate, next year I'm going to pay, if the Paris Olympics, I'm going to pay someone to wear one of those Royal Show Pikachu hats with the spinny hat on top, with the spinny propeller. That would be a pisser seeing them running down the final straight of 100 and that.
But I wonder what you'd have to, like, because it's not, if you can't, like, if anyone saw that race, they're not something that you just go like, oh, these are unnoticeable and I don't know that I'm wearing. They were big sunnies, big bulky looking things. You'd have to get a pretty good drop out to wear them, I would have thought.
Speaking of ridiculous sunnies, what about the Italian and the Qatar punter for high jump sharing a gold medal? So, what are your thoughts on that? Like, is that why? Why are they doing it? This is ultra competitive nature. It's a jump off.
Yeah, speaking of sunnies, let's talk about this.
Yeah,
that
we need
was...
to get to the crux of this.
What on earth was that? How can you possibly have 2 gold medalists in just... I was very, very stunned.
I was shocked that was allowed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
So
dumb.
that's been a rule since the 1950s. Forever.
Has it?
But the last time that ever happened was like 1952, and they said the shortest person won. So they didn't
The
give 2 gold.
shortest
They
person
said,
won.
You agree?
If you're shorter, you're jumping
shorter.
higher. You're
So
jumping
you
a bigger
win.
percentage. That is unbelievable.
That's
But how-
But
what do you do? You just have to have a jump off. You have to just keep going until there's a winner. It's just that
you do.
simple.
And speaking of sunnies, the Qatari geezer, he's gone with one pair of sunnies and he's been wearing it. And as soon as he jumps, they instantly fall off.
They do.
And he smashed 2 of them, and he had another pair. Just kept on getting another pair out of his bag every single time. Like, smash a pair of sunnies. All right, I've got my blue ones. Now I got my red ones. Like, so silly.
I reckon he had the Italian on toast too, and I reckon the Italian was absolutely wrapped. And one of my mates reckons he doesn't even understand what the ruling was. He was like, oh, gold medal, and just agreed to it. And the Italian was like, yeah, got him. Tricked him. There you go.
Idiot.
Mate, the Australian bike collapsing on its handlebars is one of the stiffest things you'll see, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
How many rides around the velodrome are you doing where your bike stays intact?
Oh.
And that to happen at Olympic level? Unbelievable.
It certainly would. And it certainly looked like it hurt. You're going 55, 60 Ks an hour and you just go bang straight on the floor.
They're still peeling his face off the floor.
Yep. Ouch.
Hey, I've got a quick one for all of you, for both of you, all of you. It's a jam-packed podcast.
No
all right.
question.
Now, I want you to name Eagles players in these events. All right? I'm going to name the events, and you're going to tell me which Eagle is going to represent the country in this event. 50-metre freestyle. Hammer.
Cal Jamison's pretty good swimming, is he, Oz?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I wouldn't go
think-
with him. You wouldn't be first off the rack. I'd say
Vards, maybe?
Tom Barras.
Tom Barras is pretty good. I'd go Vards.
Yeah, Vards, Tom Barras.
Sure.
Shot put.
Jack Darling.
Nick Nat.
Boxing.
Jack Darling.
Archie. Got a vicious
Archie.
right-hand hook.
Yes, sure.
I think I heard Tim Kelly showing a bit in the boxing arena.
Yeah, I'd just have Jack. I don't know if you've ever seen Jack Darling and the sheer size of and enormity of him.
Do you hear Tim Kelly was a underage boxer? Did you guys know that? He had
There you
a
go, eh?
Oh, there you
amateur
go.
career. That's it.
Righto, well,
Never
Tim
won a
Kelly it is.
fight.
Oh, well, there you go. Tim Kelly, it's not. Jack Darling again.
Rhythmic gymnastic.
Braden Ainsworth
Yeah, Bubba. Fit him well.
has the build of a rhythmic gymnast.
Cycling. You can pick which one. Let's do the Velodrome pursuit. So one-on-one pursuit.
I'd go Elliot Yeo.
Yoey. Huge
Massive quads.
Or
Yeah,
banger.
there it is.
Yoey or banger.
Nah, Yoey. Yoey cycles in his day-to-day life, so I'd go him.
As teased earlier, the 100-metre dash.
So pre-knee reconstruction, Nick Naitanui.
Yeah.
I mean, 100-metre dash and top sprint, they're a little bit different. 100-metre
They are a little
sprint-
bit different. I
Mhm.
think this is where people might think Petch, let's throw Petch out there, or let's
Yep.
put Liam Ryan out there. They're top. I think Nick's got the best. Nick, TB. These blokes have got massive top speeds. Just take them a bit longer to get there. So
Nick's got the number 1 of all time. Tom Brass, number 2 of all time.
I'm,
At the
ta-
club?
At the club.
I'm taking Nick Naitanui and over 100 metres.
I'm taking Tom Barras.
No question.
All right, I've saved the best for last. The decathlon. 10 events. You got everything. You got high jump, long jump, pole vault, javelin, 100 metres.
Jared Brander.
You know
I
what?
think-
A jack of all trades, simply a master of none. I'm going myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you were my second guess. I just think Pig is such a physical specimen.
Yeah, he's a specimen. Pig, probably.
I mean, so are you, but I'd go Pig.
Jared Brown's just a little bit taller, a little bit faster, a little bit better looking than me in all areas.
Yeah.
Oh, a secret bonus question at the end. So obviously Australia got into a fair bit of trouble with the complaints in the athletes' village.
Yep.
They were a bit raucous on their final night. Even Japan Airlines had a few words to say. Could have been better behaved. I think they said the emu and the kangaroo were nicked by Team Germany, so it was all happening in the village.
Hilarious.
Which West Coast Eagle teammate is most likely being pulled up for their behaviour on the final day, on the final night?
Tom Barras.
Tom Brass.
No, there's just no question about it.
Awesome.
In a
I think
tell-all.
that's
In a hard tell, Tom Barras.
awesome. That brings us to the end of the program. We are, of course, sponsored by West Coast Health and High Performance. Get on board, help them out, come and see what the good things are that they deliver. There's an absolute plethora, westcoasthealth.com.au. Hammer, good luck with the winning streak that is well and truly underway.
Thank you
Playing
very
some
much.
great footy down there. And Oscar Allen, Monday Night Footy, how you feeling about it all?
Excited. Very excited. Looking forward to the game. One last tidbit for you two. Do you two know, so swimming, Australia's best sport. Do you know what
Yep.
the other 2 sports are that have the second most gold medals for Australia at this Olympics?
At this one.
Skateboarding.
Yes. No.
Sailing?
Yes. And?
You say besides swimming, it's sailing.
Besides
something.
swimming, sailing, and
It's not shooting.
be shooting.
No.
Well, it's not being
Canoeing or kayaking?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we win a couple the other day? We won the doubles kayak.
We've won 1. No, there's one other. So we've got swimming. We've won 9. Rowing 2. And one other event we've won 2 gold medals.
Because Stumper said sailing, did you say rowing by accident? Is it rowing and sailing?
Yes.
Yeah, so you gave us the answer. Thumper said sailing and you said rowing.
I'll tell you what, 2 sports we rarely recognise in the Australian industry should be more pumped up.
Yeah, bloody tough rowing too. And I've never sailed, but I can't imagine it's overly easy.
All right, well done, man.
Good stuff, lads. I got
Thanks,
to go,
boys.
but tremendous effort.
Good on
See
you.
ya.